In the year 2987, the galactic concordance had lasted for 11,000 standard cycles without a single war. The concordance was not a government. It was a certainty. 143,000 sentient species had mapped, measured, and mastered the laws of reality so completely that conflict had become mathematically pointless. Every civilization knew exactly how much force another could bring to bear, how quickly, and at what cost. War was simply an inefficient allocation of energy. At the center of this perfect equilibrium sat the Vera, a species of pure information that had transcended matter 40 millennia earlier. The Vera did not rule. They merely observed, calculated, and when younger races grew too loud, gently adjusted probabilities until the noise subsided. They were the librarians of causality itself. Humanity was catalogued as Tier 9, pre-singularity, high variance, emotionally unstable, probable self-termination within 600 cycles. The file was 12 lines long. The Vera had spent longer classifying a particularly interesting species of mold on an airless moon. Humans first drew real attention in 2971 when a battered colony ark named Illimani's Promise limped into the Procyon verge, trailing radiation and bad decisions. The ship had left Sol in 2419 carrying 40,000 sleepers. 6 centuries of micrometeorite impacts, failing magnetic shielding, and jury-rigged repairs had turned it into a flying sarcophagus. Only 3,112 colonists survived. The Concordance sent a polite observation drone. Protocol required offering water, medical nanites, and a gentle suggestion to accept custodial relocation to a safe Tier 3 world. Humans had a reputation for dying spectacularly when cornered. The drone broadcast on all bands. This is Monitor 447V of the Concordance. You have entered protected space. State your needs. A human voice answered, hoarse, laughing, exhausted. Water would be nice. And if you've got a star chart that isn't 600 years out of date, we'll take that too. Name's Captain Amrita Zhao.
Good to meet you, Monitor.
Sorry about the mess. We took the scenic route. The Vera archivist updated the file with one additional line. Specimen displays humor under 0.002% survival probability. Recalculate variance. That was the first mistake. Middle. 53 years later, humanity, now numbering just under 9 million across 3 barely habitable rocks, was still Tier 9. They had refused every offer of uplift, every gift of clean fusion, every invitation to join the Concordance as protected miners. Instead, they strip-mined asteroids with ships held together by hope and profanity, built cities under cracked domes that leaked air like sieves, and argued incessantly about everything. They also invented things. Not elegant things. Not efficient things. Human technology looked like it had been designed by committee during a bar fight. But it worked, often in ways the Concordance could not predict. The breakthrough came from a doctoral candidate on New Theron, a moon with gravity that made your knees creak and air that tasted permanently of rust. Her name was Dr. Maria Vega, and her funding had been cut for the 4th consecutive year. In a fit of spite, she took the last functioning particle accelerator on the planet, an ancient ring 30 kilometers across, half buried in dust, and pointed it at nothing. Specifically, she pointed it at the idea of nothing. Vega's hypothesis was simple and insane. Space-time was not a fabric, it was a conversation. Every interaction, every quantum fluctuation, every graviton exchange was a syllable. If you could speak the language perfectly, if you could pronounce a sentence that described here becoming there without the tedious business of crossing the distance in between, then the universe, being polite, would skip to the end of the paragraph. The Concordance had considered the notion 8,000 years earlier and discarded it as computationally narcissistic. Moving information faster than light was trivial. Moving mass required rewriting the book, not just reading it aloud. The energy cost trended toward infinity. Vega didn't have infinity. She had 3.2 gigawatts, a stolen Vera logic crystal, and a lifelong allergy to being told something was impossible. On 13 Ventos, 3024, she powered up the ring. Across the galaxy, every Vera node felt it at once. a hiccup in the background hum of reality. Not a surge of energy, there was almost none, but a silence. A skipped heartbeat in the song of existence. Then the test ship Second Chance, a converted ore hauler with a crew of 7 lunatics who had volunteered because the alternative was debt prison, vanished from lunar orbit. It did not accelerate. It did not tunnel. It did not curve space-time. It simply stopped being where it was and began being 4.7 light-years away, orbiting a red dwarf no one had bothered to name. Travel time, 0.000 seconds. Energy expenditure, 1.8 gigawatts, most of it waste heat from bad shielding. The Vera ran the numbers 17 million times in parallel. The math insisted the event was impossible. The universe, apparently, had not been consulted. They labeled the phenomenon Vega translation and scheduled an emergency consensus. The reaction. The concordance does not panic. Panic is inefficient. But for the first time in recorded history, the Vera requested an in-person delegation. They arrived above New Theron in a vessel the size of a moon, its surface a perfect mirror reflecting starlight that had not existed for billions of years. The delegation manifested as 12 pillars of light in the General Assembly dome, which had been hastily evacuated of humans because no one trusted the structural integrity when gods were annoyed. The lead Vera spoke without sound, imprinting meaning directly into neurons. You have broken the contract. Captain Zhao, now 78, spine like a question mark, still refusing the nanite treatments, was the only human who had not been asked to leave. She leaned on her cane and grinned with teeth that had survived 6 centuries of bad coffee. Pretty sure we never signed it. The contract is not a document. It is the observed limit. Mass shall not outrun light. Entropy shall increase. You have uttered a word that should not exist. Zhao shrugged. Kid needed a thesis. This is not humor. You have created a syntactic rupture. Every translation widens it. Left unchecked, the rupture will propagate. Causality will unravel. Galaxies will experience their own heat death centuries early. You will kill the universe to save minutes. Zhao considered this. How many minutes? The pillars flickered, an emotion the Vera did not have a name for. Zhao tapped her cane on the floor. Look, we're dying out here. You stuck us on rocks with no magnetosphere and called it mercy. Mirea's drive means a ship can reach Barnard's star before the crew finishes their first cup of coffee. Means kids won't grow up breathing recycled farts. Means maybe, just maybe, humanity gets to be more than a footnote before we choke. You want us to stop? Offer a better deal. The Vera were silent for 0.3 seconds, eternity in their terms. There is no better deal, they said. The rupture cannot be sealed from the outside. The only solution is to eliminate the speakers of the forbidden dialect. Zhao's grin vanished. You mean kill 9 million people because we learned a new word? Regrettable but necessary. She looked up at the pillars, eyes hard. Then you'd better get started. Because the plans are already out there. Open source. Every colony has them. You kill us, someone else prints a ring. And next time they might not ask nicely. For the first time in 11,000 cycles, the concordance had no predictive model. The stand. They tried sanctions first. Every human ship found itself light-years off course, dumped into interstellar space with cold drives. They tried quarantine. Human colonies woke to find their suns dimmed by Dyson swarms that had not existed the day before. Humans responded by building more rings. Not elegant rings. Ugly ones. Rings welded together from ore carriers and prayer. Rings powered by reactors that should have melted. Rings that worked anyway. Traffic boomed. A ship left New Theron carrying 5,000 colonists and arrived at Kepler 438c before the departure party sobered up. Another jumped straight into the Orion Nebula because the pilot was drunk and the NAV computer auto-corrected to pretty. They threw the party again on arrival. No one had died. The rupture widened. The Vera watched constellations age in fast-forward. They watched entropy leak like sand. And then, on the 400th anniversary of first contact, The day the Illuminati's promise had limped into Procyon, the humans did something no simulation had predicted. They turned the drive off. Every ring went dark at once. Human space went quiet. A single broadcast went out on all frequencies, old-style radio, so the Vera would have to listen in real time like mortals. It was Dr. Mireia Vega, 31 years old, hair already gray from radiation, speaking from the original accelerator site. This is the woman who broke your universe. You're welcome. We're done jumping. Not because you scared us. Because we finally got far enough ahead to look back and realize what we were becoming. The thing we ran from. Another empire in a hurry. So here's the new deal. We keep the math. We'll even share it, but only with people who ask nicely and don't threaten genocide when we say no. We'll police our own. Any idiot who tries to weaponize this gets shut down by other humans long before you have to lift a non-existent finger. In return, you get to live. The rupture stops growing today. You're welcome again. We're still Tier 9. Still loud, still dying of stupid preventable things. But we just saved all of reality because it was the right thing to do. You underestimated us because you thought intelligence was the same as foresight. Turns out stubbornness and decency scale differently.
See you around.
Or not. Your call. She killed the mic. For 3 days, the galaxy held its breath. On the 4th day, every Dyson swarm vanished, as if it had never been. Stars brightened. Shipping lanes reopened. A small package materialized in orbit above New Theron, a perfect sphere of neutronium the size of a marble, gift-wrapped in a ribbon made of frozen time. Inside was a single line in perfect English. Welcome to Tier 8. Try not to break this one. Ending. Mireia Vega never accepted the Nobel Prize the colonies tried to invent for her. She spent the rest of her life teaching high school physics in a dome that still leaked, refusing body-fixing nanites because someone ought to stay human-looking for the kids. Captain Amrita Zhao died at 112 watching a sunrise on a planet that now had open sky, thanks to the magnetic shield humanity finally built once they weren't in a hurry. The Vera updated the file on humanity. It was now 42,738 pages long and growing. The final entry, written in a format no human could ever read, translated roughly to Tier 8, post-singularity potential, variance incalculable. Exhibits weaponized altruism. Recommend continued observation from a respectful distance. Note, they still think jump without motion is the impressive part. They have no idea what they just did to Mercy. And somewhere, in a bar on a moon with rust-colored snow, a teenager raised a glass of something that definitely wasn't legal and toasted. To the species too dumb to quit and too kind to finish the job. May the universe never underestimate us again. The universe, listening, decided it could live with that.